Normally I would be saying good morning and welcome to my Norma Talks for today, which is January the 5th, but I messed up somewhere today. I recorded it. I had my usual audience that comes in to listen to the talks. I put them up on YouTube, put them onto Facebook and Twitter. I thought all normally. Then this evening, a friend texted me, have you done your talk today? Yes, it's up there. Well, I can't find it. Well, he is correct. Because when I went looking myself, what I found was the words were all accurate, but the actual talk was from a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know what happened. I'm not sure. This happens because it's the first Wednesday I do a reading for the month and go over what I'm getting and stuff like that. So let's just pray now that I get that up, in an appropriate way. Come on, up we go. Oh, good, there it is. Now, many of my friends had listened to different astrologers and they were all excited because they were saying that everyone was saying there's going to be change and everything was much lighter and brighter. And I'm looking at this reading that I have in front of me this morning when I did this, because I did this about probably 20 minutes or so before I went on air. And I didn't see that. I didn't see that. But I saw some struggle. So I'm going to go through this. And I'm just going to do a little explanations too as I go, because this morning I read it straight off and I haven't got it all in my head exactly what I said, but I'm going to read the symbology as we go through. What disappointed me a little bit when I looked at this was, first of all, the only higher arcana, which is the philosophical side, was the moon, which deals a lot with self-deception because of emotionality. And it's the second symbol in. So we're already at the 5th of the month. So therefore, if we're looking at this, is that if this is representative of us as a general, is that we're all tied up with what's going on, but it says there's new things being offered, but the majority is still ignoring the information that is coming out. And so consequently, they're still caught up in the illusion of what is compared to perhaps what isn't. And so there is that still comparison of the emotionality of self-deception, because we're not aware of all of it. We're not aware of what we're putting our focus on one area and thinking that's it, when actually that's not all it at all. So as we move from the, say, around 8th through to about the 12th or so, what we've got here is an attitude. It's the only attitude that we have also, the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords, it tends to be fairly defensive, except the one thing I learned about the King of Swords, especially when I was starting out as a reader and was reading for a lot of businessmen, what I found that they weren't just defensive, they needed logic. They needed to have things explained. Now, I do know by some of the videos I have watched in the last week or so, that there's a lot of people changing their viewpoints based on facts, based on data that cannot be refuted. So they're always open. That's the one thing I like about this symbol. And you must be logical. You must have, the data to support what you're saying. You must have some proof of that. Otherwise, they get very, very rigid and stubborn and forget it. But there is an openness here. And so then as we look at the next symbol, what we see, there's a lot of info or situations. This is a Pentacles, which relates to a material life that's there, but there's still one more to put it up. So I'm looking at all the information that's coming out. We're not quite there yet. We haven't got all the info. We haven't got everything that we require. And it's kind of like taking a breath, because sometimes we get overwhelmed by all the stuff that's coming in. And so we really get overwhelmed by that. And then this one here, which is probably leading more into the beginning of the 20s. Yeah, I was around 23rd. And this is like carrying things from the past, letting go, yes, to some degree, but we're still carrying them. We're still looking back, maybe questioning what happened. How come we're still this? But we now have to work out getting clear of the old. And as we got to get clear of the old. Now, this is the one highlight, and here is the 3 of Cups, celebrating. And it's like a celebration, an awareness of how things are. And it just kind of comes in there, I think, in the early 20s of the month, 23rd, 4th, maybe. And then it gets confusing again because it's very difficult for people to change their ideas. And when people start arguing and discussing ideas, very often we get conflict. And when we get conflict, we get sadness. We get sadness because what we feel we've had is lost. Now, the one thing I like I do like about the Five of Cups, because it is a lot about grief and it is about sorrow of what has been lost. But always the key to this symbol is what's behind. There's 3 that are turned over. Everything's been lost there. And then there's 2 behind. But if you look, there's a bridge that goes across the river of life to the castle of dreams. It really is about perception. It's about what you understand, what you know. And there often is a time of grieving, of loss, and a time of not knowing or being misunderstood, etc. And then there's a time to let that go and look at things newly. The unfortunate thing here is this 10 of Wands at the very end, where it's saying, I've got so many ideas in my head, I can't see the wood for the trees. I can't see where I'm going. But again, in the background, there is a house, which is the goal, but you can't see it because you got so much going on. So I think by the end of the month, we're going to be really, really trying to figure out what's happening. This is about accepting newness and in realizing that and not getting overwhelmed by your thinking patterns. It's about letting go of the old pattern, the old fears, the old worries, totally coming to terms with them and realizing that there is hope, there is a beginning. So maybe the astrologers were actually seeing that. And then in the middle part here, we've got attitude. Confusion only creates more putting your head in the sand. You need to be open. I think we need to be really, really open this month to different viewpoints, different ideas, different concepts, and not get stuck in being rigid and this is how it's supposed to be, or this is how it is. I know that there's a lot of division going on out there right now. Leaders saying, we're going to do different things to different people. And it's like, that's dividing people, where humanity needs to respect and honor each other and work that way. And I'm just going to stop the actual pictures of that right now and just move this back. Now, I can't remember everything that I talked about this morning to kind of add on this, but really to a large degree, what becomes important is that we really honor each other. We're on a journey. Our souls are here for such a short time in comparison of time and space. We arrive in a life, we probably don't get really conscious on the whole till we're maybe in our 20s. And then all of a sudden we're busy with life through our 30s and our 40s. And now the next thing we know, our 50s is coming along. And then if we are so lucky, 60s and 70s, even further. And it's like a progression of where we are and who we are and where we're heading and where we're going and what we're doing. Life is an incredibly interesting and intricate thing. Some of us have beautiful, wonderful lives that we can look back on and thoroughly enjoy all the things that have gone on. Others of us have had real struggle. They have a lot of pain and they have a lot of things that have happened. I was fortunate in that even though I had left my family, and yes, I got to go back and see them quite a bit until recently. And then what I learned, what I came to understand about metaphysics, what I came to understand about how the power of how we think and how we feel and how we respond, and how that we're not really alone, that there is an energy and a force here. I was fortunate to have that. So when I had rough times in my life, because like most people, I did, I was able to draw on that. I was able to understand more. I was able to look inside and see where patterns kept repeating and figure out how and why. Now, I showed some tarot cards earlier. I was fortunate. I started learning how to read those when I was 20 years old. And I had a whole new way of looking at them from what had all been transpired before that. And it was more of a psychological like look. And I have been so thankful every day of my life since then that I had the teacher that I had at the time. And being able to go ahead and explore it in all sorts of different ways. I've had the privilege of speaking at tarot conferences. I've had taught lots of classes and things like that. But it gave me a philosophy, and then mixed with my spirituality, my metaphysical background, it came together. And as it came together, and does it mean I'm perfect? No, I have stuff. But I'm at the point now that there's when the stuff comes up, I know what to do with it. When things happen, I know what to do with it. And that's the important key here. We are in a transitionary time. Look, I really, as I read those symbols today, we are in a transitionary time. And this is only this is only January. Now we've gone through 2 years, 2 whole years of restrictions of one thing and another. And then, there's a formula out there. They say, they restrict you, then they make it easier, then they restrict you more, then they make it easier, then they restrict you more. This is being practiced throughout history in many different societies. And we just happen to be going through that now. But we have strength, we have purpose, we have an awareness, because no matter what is happening, you get to create how you respond to your life. You get to create your goals. You get to create and understand your feelings. You get to create and know all those little bits and pieces that go on. So this is probably a short talk today, but because it's evening time, and I want to say thank you for watching. I hope this one gets up okay. And the people that are coming on later. Oh, I know one thing I did say. I really wanted to thank the new people that have come and subscribed. Poor things, they subscribe and everything is kind of funny. But this is the first time this has ever happened, and I pray it doesn't happen again. But thank goodness for friends who say, hey, where's talk? So I just want you to know, I will give you thanks. I'm blessed for those that subscribed. I'm blessed for those that share. I am blessed I should say blessings too. Boy, evening time, And I look forward to speaking to you on Sunday again. And oh yeah, one of the things I announced was on Monday night, again on YouTube here, I'm going to do a mental mind treatments. And if you have an issue or a problem, so at 7 o'clock, I'll be on my channel live. You can chat with me by telling me what you would like changed, feelings, situations, and I will do a mental mind treatment for you. It's something that I've done for years, and I'm missing doing them because I don't have a regular class anymore because of lockdowns that we've endured. So I just I want to see if those work. So every Monday in the next little while from 7 o'clock, and we'll start off for 7:30 and just see how it works and how it goes on, and that would be great. And then later in February I have a psychic development class. Talk to you. I'll see you. You have a great time. Blessings.